Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. I'm Michael Morris. This is Stan Willis. Did you just wave at the camera on a podcast? Like they can see it on YouTube, but I think you could just say hello. You waved at the podcast. This show's off to a great start.
I'm actually thinking about miming the whole show.
Can we have Kendra come over here and do the sign language behind us while you're miming?
That would be awesome.
It would only work for YouTube. See, Stanley, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So let's talk about the hot button issue of today, the shooting in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, the story keeps changing and it keeps getting worse. But let's talk about
It's pretty horrible.
Yes, let's talk about the initial problem. A kid, 18-year-old kid, kills. What I've seen is 31 people were shot. I'm not sure how many people passed away.
I don't know. The numbers seem a little bit. It seems like they're still trying to figure that all out.
So the Border Patrol is that not the cops, but the actual Border Patrol were involved in this, and they're the ones that I guess eventually took this kid down.
Yeah.
So again, another incident of gun violence in this country, and now everybody wants to remove guns.
Well, let's start by saying I don't think that I don't think that's possible. I think that.
Well, we'll get to that part why it's not possible.
I think first of all, the first thing you have to is that's not going to be a practical solution in the United States. I don't think that's possible. Having said that, I don't think that. I mean, most of the gun violence that's happened in the United States, a good bit of it would have been prevented if they would just enforce the laws that we currently have. But we don't enforce the laws that we currently have, so making more laws that we're not going to enforce probably won't help the situation. The other thing, and this is, I don't know if you saw what the AG from Texas he had in his speech had to say, but I actually kind of agree with what he had to say in that changing gun laws will not change the hearts of people.
Correct.
And fundamentally, it's become somewhat a regular thing in the U.S. for people to shoot up multiple people in malls and schools and everything else.
And let's say this: we're for it in malls, but not in schools.
But it's evil in the hearts of people,
right?
That makes this happen. It's not having guns available. It's evil in the hearts of these people who are going out and committing these horrible acts. I mean, you had a guy in
Buffalo,
Chicago that drove through a crowd. You have, I mean, these are just people who are just horrible, evil people, and having a law against. I mean, if somebody is already decided that they are the kind of person who will go in and shoot up a school, they're certainly not going to be swayed by it being illegal to have a gun.
I
mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, let's go to the gun part of this thing real quick, just because of what you said. To get rid of guns is impossible at this point, right? So
I think in the U.S. it definitely is.
So they're going to use the example of Australia, where in the 90s, I think it was 1991, there was a mass shooting. And so they had everybody turn their guns in, which I think is hilarious because Australia is a continent that was formed from all the prisoners from England that they didn't want. And yet those are the most peaceful people, right?
Right.
You get rid of all the guns. And then when the government decides, hey, we're going to take away your rights, you have no way to fight back.
No way to defend yourself, right?
That's the whole reason that you have a right to bear arms, is so that your government can't overrun you.
That is what Thomas Jefferson and
Bill Laimbeer
and Bill Laimbeer both had to say about the
Bill
I was
Lambier's an
thinking of
asshole.
Alexander Hamilton, actually, but Bill
well,
Lambier and Alexander Hamilton.
Whoever. It's whoever was on the TV in the 80s. That's why I paid attention.
I'm not sure that Bill Lambier can sing like Alexander Hamilton apparently could, but
He was a thug on the basketball court. That's all I know.
But that is what they said. But they agreed that was the point of that, was to defend yourself against the government. But without having a philosophical debate on Second Amendment, just from a practical standpoint, I don't think that the United States in 2022 is the same place as Australia was in 1991. I'm not sure that would work.
Well, they're two completely different things. That's why I'm saying them giving up weapons is different. This is the most violent society in history. If you look at how we,
I completely agree with that.
Let's start from day one.
And that is even including the Romans at the height of the battles in the Colosseum. The United States entertainment and just social interaction is way more violent than pretty much any society has been, and ultimately that's the problem that needs to be addressed, is the violence, not the mode of the violence, because it's just too nobody wants to talk about the underlying problem, and that is that we kind of embrace violence.
Well, we embrace violence and we ignore mental health issues.
We completely ignore that, yeah.
So these people that are pulling these stunts off, none of them came from a law firm. I mean, probably from this law firm if it happens, but none of them came from a 9-to-5 job. They're all people that don't mean anything to society in terms of the way they look at it. The movie The Joker is the best example of this, right? It's somebody who's stumbling through life, and his medication is being denied, his care is being denied. Right. And so what happens is they devolve into this almost like a beast where their life doesn't mean anything to them. So your life doesn't mean anything to them either. If you ignore people's mental health or even their economic health, right? They're not coming from rich societies. The Menendez trial is an example of you have everything and you can't believe it's such an outrageous thing that they killed their parents, right? But in these situations in Buffalo, Chicago, Wisconsin, these are all crimes being committed by people that society is leaving behind. And it's almost like they're striking out.
For the most part, I mean, there is an element of folks who are ex-police or ex-military who are suffering from some form of PTSD or something like that that's not being addressed, which probably also tells you that we're not doing a very good job with our military folks once they come back from overseas. We probably need to do a better job supporting.
But we forget about them.
Well,
because you've played a role. You're a tool in the toolbox.
We definitely need to do a better job supporting I don't mean cheering for them at events. I mean, actually giving support that's... I'm not going to
do anything more than cheer at events because I'm probably already at the event.
Well, I mean, but you know what I'm saying? You always recognize the military people at the events, but and I'm sure that feels good and everything, but these folks need support for the injuries that they've suffered overseas, some of which are physical and some of which are mental. Some of these scars and injuries, we need to help them address these things. We need and then in the general population, I think we ignore mental health issues in our general population fairly consistently, and you couple that with just the violence of our society, and this is the kind of thing. But I think that the belief that gun control will fix this problem is naive. That's the thing. If I believe that gun control of some form would actually help the issue that we have, I would be willing to consider it. Second Amendment aside, I mean, I'm a believer in the Bill of Rights and everything. But Second Amendment aside, if I really thought that this had some chance of helping the situation, okay, I would look at it. But when you look at the studies that have been done that are of countries that control weapons versus countries that don't control weapons, and all the studies themselves at best are inconclusive. They prove nothing.
Right.
In fact, in a lot of cases, you'll see countries with very strict gun control that have very big violence problems. And then you will see some countries that have no gun control that have no violence problem. But on the flip side, you will see countries that have no gun control and have an extreme violence problem. And you'll have some countries that have extreme control and no violence problem. So when you do the studies, just based on gun control itself, they're completely inconclusive, which tells you there's something else driving this. There's something else driving the violence other than the weapons. It's not the weapons that make the violent society. The society makes itself violent.
Don't you think it's funny that America wants to solve the gun violence problem, and anytime there's a war we can get into, the first thing, let's give you money for weapons and send you weapons.
First thing we want to do is go fight somebody and have a war.
America has always raised their kids to see violence is not that big a deal. Actually, I was watching a video yesterday.
Well, not only that, I think it's a step worse than that. It's not that it's not that big a deal. It's a viable solution to your problem. We see violence as and not as like a last resort solution, but as we said don't do that and you did it, so now I'm going to beat you. I mean, it's like second. In not
it's how I live my life. Sure, right, I know what you mean.
Well, I know how you do that. I mean, look at Nate today. He looks like he just beat the snot out. What did he do?
Nate is extremely violent at all times.
Did he not get your coffee in time, or what happened? I mean,
no, he didn't even offer it to me. That was the problem.
Such a prick.
Yeah. I mean, you always have coffee on the show, and I think it's so that Nate doesn't want you to get violent.
On the edge, right here.
It makes me violent when you do that. So thank you. The other thing I have to say about the gun
issue. I throw my coffee on you.
Well, listen, I've heard the many spills of C. Stanley Willis with your coffee incidents. I'm just trying to save you from the public embarrassment.
Can I tell you? So my wife and I just moved. And
wait, she moved with you, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, the way you just stated it is you both moved different places.
And so long story short, yesterday morning, I was working on some stuff in one room, and I hear this screaming, and I come in, and there's water just pouring out of the back of the washer because somebody may have forgot to attach the drain pipe. I'm not going to say who. Yeah. But
that's when you were glad there were guns in the house so you could protect yourself?
No, that's how we mopped the laundry room floor.
Used an AR-15 just to squeegee it out? I mean, that's resourceful. I can't be mad about that.
Wrap it in a towel. It's a great cleaning device.
It helps. It helps.
You have to oil the gun afterwards, though.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I just have like a pistol. I just have pistols. That's all I have.
Oh, you only have pistol?
Yeah.
So you don't have an AR-15?
No, because I saw the movie Judgment Night, and I always wanted to hold a pistol like they did them. Why did gangsters hold their thing with their thumb out like this and above their head?
I don't know. It's a stupid way to shoot.
That's how I do it in my house when I'm watching TV.
It's almost impossible to hit what you're aiming at doing that.
Again, watch the movie Judgment Night. Nobody did. They were hitting all their targets.
I don't know.
I think it was based on a documentary. I'm not really sure. Jeremy Piven was in it. That's how you know it was good.
I don't know. What was the movie? What was the movie with Denzel Washington where he was a gangster? Huh? No, where American Gangster, right? Where they were all doing that to him, and he killed them all because they couldn't hit him while they were with their guns like this. They couldn't hit him.
But admit that it looks cool.
Okay.
That's all I really want out of this is that it looks cool.
It looks cool while you're dying.
I don't have a response to that. But when we're talking about getting rid of guns, here's how I feel about it. I feel like this is back to our Roe versus Wade discussion. It's a great thing to run on.
Okay, yeah.
Right? It's a great political cudgel to use, but you're not going to do anything about it because it is like saying we are going to take sugar out of lunches that are being fed to kids,
right?
Not out of the grocery store, right? Everybody already has the guns. So let's say you ban all these assault rifles. What does it matter? I think there are There's 1.5 times
Well, first
as
of
many
all,
guns as people
there-
in this country.
There's no such thing as an assault rifle currently.
It's like an assault rock.
Congress might write a definition for assault rifle, in which case then you'll have a definition that's an arbitrary definition for assault rifle. But there really is nothing that's called an assault rifle. That's a made-up term.
Right.
And typically what people mean by that is they mean guns that look scary. But,
Like a tank.
right. Like a tank could be an assault rifle.
I told you the story about the tank, right? The Afghanistan tank on eBay.
No, you didn't tell me that story. Tell me that
So
story.
our friend,
I'm
our
on the
buddy
edge of-
Hugh.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
So we're joking about when we left $600 million worth of war
Right, he
weapons in
wanted me to buy-
Afghanistan.
He wanted me to buy a tank.
So we were talking about Stan, like, let's get online because the Afghanis were selling them online. So as a joke, so I could send this to Hugh, I bid $3,400 on a tank, but nobody else bid. So it looked like I was going to win this bid. And so as a joke, I just went in the screenshot and I sent it to him and he goes, dude, you might get stuck with that. I'm like, I don't want the tank. And he goes, if nobody else bids or they don't take it down, you're the highest bidder. And I go, what do I do? And that dumbass, you know what he says? Oh, I got a buddy that will ship it over here for like $100,000. And I'm like, I don't want, the thing was a joke. It was a joke to show you, not thinking it was real. And then and so the government stepped in and like took them all off eBay. Our government was like, how dare you do that? But I was this close to having a tank, which we would have to put at your new house without asking Kelly.
So you were going to buy the tank for $3,400.
I thought the bid was so
spend
low.
$100,000
But the tank value was
to ship the tank over
$600,000.
here, and then spend another $50,000 or $100,000 trying to do all the licensing stuff, so you'd be allowed to keep it.
I didn't think it passed the point where I could take the screenshot of the joke and send it to somebody. I didn't realize I was really bidding on it.
Apparently not.
No. God, I should get back on eBay.
This is what happens. This is what being from Grove City is like.
Do you know how cool I'd be if I was a guy from Grove City that had a tank parked in my yard? It wouldn't fit in a garage. I just want to take it for oil changes and all that stuff. I just want to see people's face like, what the hell's going on here?
Take the tracks off and put tires on it, drive it around.
Yeah. I'll put it on some 22s, get some rims on it.
You have to stick your head out the top and signal.
Do you think that I would have a problem? I wouldn't even need guns in my house anymore. Come to rob me, I'm going to blow up the whole neighborhood. You're not thinking this through, as I wasn't thinking it through when I bid on it.
Yeah,
You should ask Hugh about that because he literally was like, he wasn't even upset. He goes, dude, that'd be awesome. I go, I don't want this. Could you imagine the government?
Well, he would not
sir,
be
why is
upset. He would enjoy. He would be like, when are we taking that out, man?
Yeah, I know. Meanwhile, the government red flags me for more than my Facebook posts.
I'm sure you're probably already there.
I have been banned many times from Facebook for things that
Really?
they were not anti-government things. They were just funny pictures.
Okay.
I have to ask this question along the lines of violence in America. Did you see that somebody from Ohio, shout out to Columbus, Ohio, had a plot to assassinate George Bush? 52-year-old Iraqi guy. I don't understand what he would be mad about. Why would he be mad at George Bush if he's from Iraq?
Can't think of a thing.
You don't think that's like a Governor Whitmer plot where the FBI goes, hey, let's stir these guys up and see if we can get them to attack so we can arrest them?
I don't know. Some of the entrapment type things seem a
Whoa,
little bit.
I'm not going to have you say the FBI uses people as traps, okay? Just because they do it, I'm not going to have you say that out loud.
Okay, sorry. I take it back.
I believe in the FBI. They've almost solved crimes.
Right.
Don't look in the camera. Oh, I thought you were looking right in the camera. If the FBI is already watching this, you're already busted.
Do you know that if Fred Bolitnikoff made himself a corporation, he would be the FBI?
I hate you for even saying that. That was, I literally listened to you like you were making a point, like a business point or something. I hate this show. I hate everything about it. In summary, before we run out of time, then, I just want to get your take on this. You have people that are saying we should arm people in the schools. And then you have the other side saying no guns at all.
It's a tough situation. First of all, it's just a horrible thing. And like I said, this is just, it's evil in these people that is causing the problem. So what do I think we do? I mean, as a practical thing, something you can do. What can we do? We can button the schools up so it's hard to get into them.
How about just lock the
Is
goddamn
that-
doors?
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We can button it up so that random people can't just walk in the doors. It's practically impossible to have a police officer at every school. You would need to greatly increase our police force, and I'm not sure necessarily. I think it's a great idea to have a bunch of teachers and administrators running around with weapons.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I wasn't saying the teacher. I think that's a terrible idea.
Because I mean, you're just. I don't think necessarily inviting guns into a school is the solution to it, but I think that we can do some things to make it. You can. Yeah, you hate to put metal detectors everywhere, but you can put metal detectors at the doors. You can button up the schools from a practical standpoint. First of all, just by locking the doors and having some security system. There are security systems available all over the world. There are all kinds of people who can do this that can put in the surveillance that would help to alleviate some of that problem. I think really ramping up kind of the way that we treat and identify and address mental health issues in people is important. But again, you got to be careful how far you walk out that line. I mean, you could, because back in the 40s and 50s, you had housewives being thrown into asylums, sanitariums, and given lobotomies because
those were good days.
Wanted to divorce.
Oh, you're against that. Sorry.
I'm against that. So we got to be careful how far down that line we walk because we've been shown to not be trustworthy in that world too. I think that trying to increase the police presence in and around schools would probably be helpful. And again, I really think that as a culture, as a society, we need to admit that we have a violence problem, and we need to address our violence problem in much the same way that a person who's an alcoholic needs to admit that
they party
the person's
hard.
an alcoholic.
That's bad. Yes,
and they need to address it. Right?
That's right.
As a society, we have a problem with violence. We are addicted to it. And as long as we're addicted to violence as a society, we're going to have this kind of situation happening.
It's beautifully said. You've been listening to Objections with C. Stanley Willis. Listen again or we'll kick your ass.